So this is why I started to think that maybe Bryan is a total mental nutcase too, because here, I called social services, and as everyone knows now, Bryan gave me the case number to give to them when we discussed this. Now he's completely denying it, turning it completely around and making it sound like we never discussed it, which we did. Which is why he gave me the case number for Ricky, which is why I called. So anyway, this is one of the text messages he sent me. You just called social services on Julie. Well, I didn't just call them. I called them almost 2 weeks ago. And he's saying this on January 29th. Like I said, the guy's a mental nutcase. He says, you just called. No, I didn't just call. I called like 2 weeks ago when we talked about it on the phone. And you agreed and gave me the case number to give to them over Ricky Francis Rawson and his stealing money off Julie Thompson's debit card. And God only knows what else. So they wanted to have him evicted for that, which took them months to figure out because dumb Julie doesn't know how to check her transactions in her bank account, I guess, to make sure, nobody's doing any kind of nefarious things with her checking or banking account. So, then he writes this to me. And this is another tweet that he sent me. Well, I find it absolutely mind-blowing that all we want you to do is be respectful, non-combative, and kind. And you have called government institutions after speaking to my mother. No, actually, after speaking to you. Bryan Hudson. That's why you're worth this piece of shit. A two-faced liar. Yeah. And have everybody bullshitted, I guess, in life. So anyway, after speaking to my mother, like she is incapable of thought or emotion. Like, what is that supposed to mean? Now come into someone else's world stuck like a barnacle. This is really something else. But yeah, just more being rude and condescending towards me. And then again, here's another one. Oh, he claims that he speaks to an investigator. He spoke to an investigator already. But he can call and speak to people. It says here, social services, right? Social worker or something. Become Ricky, but being here at someone's home despise. And one of these, he says that he spoke to an investigator. Here it is. Go for it. I have already prepared social services. So he's talked to social services about me. So he says, and the APD for you. So Asheville Police Department. So it's okay for him to speak to those people without my permission. But even though I already spoke to him about it like weeks ago. Now he's just lying about it. He says they will be expecting you. You will either be a benefit to that house and kind and supportive, or you will be an asshole, like it seems, and you will move out. Rants. I have more of your rants to prove your disrespectful communication. Bad shit crazy. You're messing with the wrong person. So, but I'm not. Because I know exactly what I'm talking about. And this guy's a fucking idiot. The threats he is sending to me in private, which I wasn't. I didn't even make one threat towards him. He's the one, Bryan Hudson's the one that's been making every threat, all the threats. towards me constantly. Uh, so you can read that. So I'll leave it up for a few minutes. But we will file in the next couple of days. It'll be the first on the list of restrictions are lifted, never being trusted to rent anywhere again. He thinks he has power. He will see what a homeowner can do with their own home soon. Yeah, I guess that meant coming over here and violating my tenant rights. Well, he does. They don't have that right. Homeowners don't have the right when they're renting to someone to violate their tenant rights. That's what dipshit doesn't seem to comprehend. You know, he thinks he can just come in here and try to throw all my stuff out into the living room and act like a wild animal in the house. Well, that doesn't fly. That's not going to go over with anybody. I'm hearing a lot of bad things about you. Yeah. Really. I know. Then they tried to give me COVID-19, to stop an eviction paper proclamation, COVID-19 proclamation, or whatever the hell it is. Stop the eviction. But I live on a fixed income. I have money. If I were to sign that, I'd be perjuring myself. I'd be fined and possible jail time. It's perjury. It says it right on the top of the paper. And they tried to make me perjure myself by making me sign that paper. Which I didn't, because nobody's going to make me sign anything I don't want to sign. Good thing you aren't homeless in the winter. Ricky is out on the 4th. You can move out whenever you want. That's okay. Julie can't wait for him to be gone, but trying to keep him from being violent. You're not helping the situation, and attacking Julie, it's unfortunate. Really? Really? Wow. That's funny. Yeah. Oh, making chili. So, and then here we have the text. And here I'm just talking about how my family dealt with my grandfather and his diabetes, and how when I was down in Tijuana, how Danny died from his diabetes because he was too stubborn to listen to anybody, didn't want to take his medications, ended up falling his ass on the floor and dying. Well, I brought him to the hospital, and with the people, the ambulance, and the people had to come up the stairs with a stretcher with 6 people to get him down the stairs. So, and he ended up dying in the hospital. Never came home again. And like I said, talking about my grandfather and his diabetes, talking about, there was nothing threatening here. At all. There's nothing, absolutely nothing threatening. And he's going over, and there's another conversation here that he started with Julian and I. Or he's going over there and telling her that, oh, I'm making all these threatening comments. Which I haven't. All the truth. And none of them are threats. Nothing I've said is a threat at all to him. I'm just stopping on each one so that people can read it for themselves. If you need to stop the video, you can stop it yourself and read it. I'm not going to open up each one, but you get the gist of each one. There's not one thing on here that's threatening to him. Okay. So anyway, that's just some of it. And then he would go on to the other chat or text messages and say, these are all in there. So I did this by being an asshole. Yeah. So he continues to harass me and making threats. He's the one making all the threats. As you can see, threatening to evict me, threatening me with calling an investigator, calling the police, all this threatening, which I never did to him, not even once. All the threats coming from him. Everything. So, we'll go over to the other conversation I was having with him. It's 7 a.m. So, I was... It's 7 a.m. That it is. And how I called Daniel Mendez, and he called me back from the Council on Aging, and he will testify and verify to the police department that I gave him the case number for Ricky that Bryan Hudson gave to me to give to them. And that's what I said. That's all he cares about is the antiques in the house. Yeah, that's one of the things he checked on. Oh, he had to run down to the basement because the basement door was open. Oh, he had to run down to the basement, check all the antiques. Like, you know, because that's really all he cares about. Didn't care that someone might have to call the police and put everybody in harm's way because of his antics by violating my tenant rights. So he calls us. Yeah. But yeah, that's my report I made. All of the some of the chats were copied and pasted. Gave to the sheriff's department. With him threatening me. Because I've not made any threats, and that's why I'm video recording all of my chat messages. All of my chat messages I had with him. So I never made any threats towards Bryan Hudson at all. Not even one. He's been the one that's been threatening and harassing me the entire time now. So, that's about it. I'm going to wrap this up.